the topic of the week is win-win-win partnerships. So this has been the topic of the week that I've been really thinking about and has been coming up in conversation with friends, family, colleagues, clients, associates, everybody. That's what's been coming up this week is win-win-win partnerships. And I think it's pretty poetic that last week was, no pedestals. And by the way, I don't plan these. These are just the topics of the week that naturally come up each week. So the no pedestals, it's like, okay, the subconscious release that we did was let's clear that away so we can just stop fucking focusing on all the pedestal bullshit and just focus on collaborating. And then what has happened is like, wow, looking back, that's given space this week to enter into those win-win-win partnerships, because then we're entering in as equals. None of this bullshit type stuff of I'm better than you or you're better than me and we just got blah, 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 blah. It's win-win-win across the board. So this card that I put up is from the Cosmic Journey Oracle cards, created by Yannick Silver. Great mentor, person in my journey, in my life, in my story. And so one of the cards that he has is how can this be a wonderful win-win-win? And that's what I've been really contemplating, because I've had these opportunities come up this week of partnerships and approaching it with this energy of win for you, number one, win for me, number two, and win for the people that we're serving, number three. And just like the circle here, how that can be balanced instead of what I've been finding throughout my experience with myself and then the people I've been talking to is just the bullshit that can get in the way of that, self-worth things. Maybe I don't deserve for it to be equal around. Maybe it's got to be over-giving for everybody else, and then maybe there's just a little bit for me. Maybe does that resonate with you? Or maybe on the other side, maybe it's overbalanced of like not as much win for everybody else, but win over here for me. That's just all these ways that it's out of balance. That's what I'm finding here is, okay, how can this be balanced? And it's okay. So, and the reason why I say it's okay, because, I started going down a journey, down a rabbit hole, just like things of like, okay, what are times in my life that I felt like I didn't deserve things? If it came too easy, I felt like I didn't deserve it. So with these win-win partnerships where it's like, wow, this got a lot easier than me doing it alone or me doing it alone, then it's like that triggered in me, oh, well, if it's too easy, then you don't deserve it. So maybe over give, and then just get a little bit instead of it being balanced. And the thing that I'm discovering is that that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So in sustainability, we want everything to have what it needs in the right amount so that it can continue growing and growing and growing and going. So, I find this to be a big topic in the purpose, passion space, because our passion, what we love to do, is so connected with our service, and it's our purpose, what we're here to do. So having boundaries tends to be difficult. Knowing what to charge tends to be difficult. Finding that, that balance of energy exchange, money exchange tends to be difficult. I know for me and the people I've chatted with. So the whole topic of this week is, these win-win-win partnerships are possible, number one. Number two, they're abundant. And number three, how to orchestrate, how to arrange the relationship so that it's balanced on all sides, so that it's sustainable, so that it can continue to create impact on and on and on. Because if one person is shouldering it all on their back, like in the beginning, I said the journey from the weary warrior, if one person's holding it all on their back too much, it's only a matter of time before the thing disintegrates. And maybe you've had that before where you entered into a partnership or a relationship, some type of team, some type of business, and it didn't feel balanced. Maybe you had to hold it all yourself, or maybe you didn't feel like your own cup was being filled up enough. And pretty soon that cup went dry and the thing disintegrated. So that's what we don't want here. We want sustainability. So that's what we're going to do today, is do the subconscious release around anything that can come up to prevent these win-win-win partnerships. Number one, this is going to make life a whole lot easier. So if there's any resistance around, oh, shouldn't be easy, I need to struggle and struggle, and have this whole hero's journey of work so hard and then go through all this drama and all this stress and then finally at the very end it come through. Those are great for Hollywood movies, but it's pretty shitty for a life, in my opinion. That's how I feel. Because I've lived that so many times, and I've had key moments for myself where I remember, things come in layers, but I remember when I was 20, 21 years old, I was going through extreme stress with my web design agency. I remember looking myself in the face and realizing I'm like, oh, I'm creating like a stressful hero's journey where like we have to struggle, we go through, the odds are against us, and we go through this and we go through this, and at the very end we pull through. I've just had this realization. I'm like, I'm creating this myself because only then do I feel like I'm worthy. It's like I have my badge of honor, like, look, world, we went through all this, now I'm worthy. And I remember having that moment with myself when I was like 20, 21, and just looking in the mirror, and I was just like, fuck, man. I felt like so betrayed by myself. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this sucks. And so it's interesting to me that now this has come back again. Maybe not as intense, but that's what I've just found. I mean, that's what I believe, and that's what I see with the subconscious is things come in layers. Just like I've used, I've heard the analogy. Nicholas David Nin uses the analogy of like an onion. There's layers, and we get the big ones first, but then as we go through different milestones and shifts and growth in our life, maybe we come back to that certain pattern again and clean it up at a deeper level. So for today, we're going to clean up things that get in the way of that. Hey, maybe there's that part of ourselves that feels like it needs to be a struggle fest, otherwise we don't deserve it. Part of ourselves that if it's too easy and if everybody's on the same page, then it's not going to last and it's wrong. Any stuff about that? Anything that comes up that, oh, well, there's no win-win-win partnerships in the world. Maybe that part of yourself feels like, oh, I just got to shoulder it all myself. If I want it done right, I got to do it myself. Oh, that's one that I spent some time clearing away. And let's see, and if there's any fear, anxiety, stress, guilt, shame, that's another thing, guilt. Oh, if it's this easy and it's filling up your cup, do you feel guilty about your own cup being filled up? Is that even possible where the person you're working, their cup is filled up, you're filled up, and then the people you're serving is filled up? Like, is there any guilt or shame that should be associated with that? Not to get like too down the rabbit hole, but like in my, I feel like there can be a lot of, programming. I know that I've experienced like in my religious background, just growing up certain ways and a lot of great things from it, but there's also certain programming of like, okay, meek shall inherit the earth. So it's like, okay, do I need to just like orchestrate my whole life so that I just have nothing because then that's good? I don't know if you resonate with these, but like, these are the things I found for myself. Just like small things, not small things, but like subtle things in the subconscious where I'm like, damn, that's okay. Or it's not okay, but I'm like, damn, that's creating a lot of issues. That subtle little belief. So that's what we're going to clear today. That's going to be the non-recorded segment. So I'm going to go ahead and pause recording and jump into the subconscious clearing. So I believe that's it for right now, and just bring it all home with our journey of going from the weary warrior to the happy hero. Like in that Avengers example, they're a team. And part of win-win partnerships is you've got a talent that is different than my talent. And when our talents combine in that way, that's fantastic. Because you get to do the things you love, I get to do the things I love, and it's reverse. We don't have to do as much or at all the things that we really don't like, the things that really drain us of energy. So those win-win-wins come together, and then when it's the people we serve, those complementary opposites are dynamite, like peanut butter and jelly. On their own, they're good, but together, woo! We got a great sandwich.